Welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news show brave enough to still make gaming news in this economy?
Damn right, Bruce. The only thing inflating around here is our video length. We may run out of stuff to talk about, though, if the economy keeps sliding on down into the game shitter.
Times are tough. Far Cry and Assassin's Creed developer Ubisoft just announced multiple project cancellations, declining revenues, and yet another delay to Skull and Bones, the pirate action game that was originally supposed to release in 2018.
Can't even remember that long ago. It's all rough news, to be sure. More worryingly, though, Ubisoft has joined a growing number of companies that have reported declining revenues, canceled projects, and just all around less spending in gaming.
Yeah, we'll go over all the news bits to give you the full picture, but first, let's cover the news of the day. Ubisoft, but she be hard. Charlotte, what's going on?
Hard times make hard gamers, Bruce, and hard gamers make difficult friendships. Even though the news out of Ubisoft isn't great, the good news is that it sounds like there won't be any layoffs, for now anyways. Axios reports that any developers on the 3 unannounced canceled projects will move to other projects. So while it's cool that everyone keeps their jobs, it's probably not very fun to have a project that you've been working on for years maybe suddenly get canceled.
Yeah, not to mention there's some mythical games out there that we'll never get to play.
Speaking of games we'll never get to play, Ubisoft delayed Skull and Bones again. That's right, for the 6th time. It's now expected sometime in the company's next fiscal year, which runs from April 2023 to March 2024, but don't hold your breath. Of the games Ubisoft did actually launch, many underperformed. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot specifically noticed spending reluctance in their casual and mobile sectors, while both Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope and Just Dance 2023 fell short of sales expectations.
Oh, come on now. Accordingly, Ubisoft revised their net bookings projections, essentially how much money they expect to make, down more than 10% year over year. That's significantly worse than their previous forecast of more than 10% growth.
Now that change in Ubisoft's financial outlook caused its stock to plummet, because of course it would. Went down more than 21% after the news.
Oh boy. So that sucks. But is the economy really the issue here? Ubisoft said as much, but they've also kind of not been doing great lately themselves.
Yeah, they've been withering on the vine a little bit. Ubisoft built this global network of huge development studios that enabled them to publish these massive open world games like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, and it was getting to where it was nearly annual for a bit there. That pace has slowed way down, basically since the pandemic. Far Cry 6 and Immortals Phoenix Rising in the past couple of years are the only games that really fall into their usual heyday.
Yeah, that's right. On top of that, some of Ubisoft's final open world mega games weren't the best. Ghost Recon Wildlands and Watch Dogs Legion both received middling reviews due to tech issues and repetitive content. Instead, Ubisoft's kind of been experimenting with smaller scope titles like Rainbow Six Extraction, which was okay, and Roller Champions, which is okay.
Yeah, Ubisoft seems like they want to continue that experimentation into 2023 with Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is supposed to be smaller in scope and more linear than the sprawling open worlds of Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Honestly, if they keep some of the redesigning ethos that went into those bigger ones, I will be very happy with that. Apart from that, Ubisoft can hope that Avatar will save them just like it saved cinema and our collective sense of wonder. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is also expected in Ubisoft's fiscal 2023. I'm getting in line tonight.
Get your tickets and your full body tattoos right now.
If I can pilot a SetOps crab suit, damn.
A mech crab suit? Oh my gosh.
Jim, don't miss.
Hey, if anything's recession proof, it's Avatar, baby. What is it, 2 billion? So Ubisoft, they're safe. They got the one thing they can ride the storm out under.
I want to be Jim Cameron's friend just so he can make a movie for me, and then it's going to succeed a little bit, right? Just a touch.
Bruceatar?
Yeah, Bruceatar. So yes, Ubisoft is safe. Just as safe as you'll feel chomping into a delicious bowl of cereal from Magic Spoon, who's sponsoring today's episode.
Today's episode of Inside Games was brought to you by Magic Spoon, an awesome new breakfast cereal. I have to be honest, breakfast cereal used to be my gamer snack of choice. It was easy, it was really delicious. It was actually like my favorite food for a solid 2 years, but I just had to drop it because it's so bad for you. Now it's like one of those things I just have on my birthday. Luckily, Magic Spoon is an indulgence that is a lot easier to fit into a healthy diet. Each serving has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 140 calories, and only 4 net grams of carbs. They're also keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain grain-free, soy-free, and it comes in a lot of nostalgic flavors. You got your frosted, your fruity. I kind of like the cocoa myself. It gives the milk a real zing, a real kick. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's back with 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link below to get a variety pack and try it today. Make sure to use our promo code InsideGames for $5 off any order, or go to magicspoon.com/InsideGames for $5 off any order. Thank you very much for the sponsorship, Magic Spoon. All right, thank you, Magic Spoon. Last we left the story, we were predicting that James Cameron's Avatar magic would completely reverse Ubisoft's bad economic fortunes.
I feel like that's something that might actually happen. Unfortunately, not just everyone gets a piece of that Cameron magic. We've seen more, except for Bruce Attar, we've seen more and more news stories pop up that money just is not flowing through video games like it used to. All three console makers, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, reported that their revenues declined in late July or early August of last year, and all three missed their earnings expectations.
Gaming's 800-pound gorilla, Tencent, reported its first ever revenue drop in August, as gaming revenues declined 1%. Not a lot, but hey. Not a lot, but hey.
Oh.
Down for the first time ever, so...
No, that sucks. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick said in an earnings call in August that we're seeing now the decline in consumer spending and increase in inflation will have an impact on the industry.
Gaming companies partly blame the slowdown on supply chain issues, we've heard that a lot, which have plagued the industry since COVID, plus gaming's pandemic boom, where everyone stayed at home and played games like Animal Crossing. That's pretty much over at this point. People are going outside again.
Yeah, but there's another, maybe simpler cause. People have less money in their pockets, and folks tend to cut spending on entertainment like video games when times get lean. Some of this has been expected in gaming. The research firm Ampere Analysis projected in November that the entire video games industry was expected to shrink by 4.4% year on year to $182 billion. Lewis Ward, research director of gaming at IDC, told CNBC that there's a fair amount of battening down the hatches going on globally as it relates to the games industry. He explained that there were huge 20 to 30% revenue surges in gaming when COVID hit, when again, lots of people were locked down playing video games, but that is over now.
As you can see, I'm outside. Now, he said, there's concern about a potential recession, plus inflationary and supply chain challenges in North America and Europe.
Yeah, and of course, companies are out there raising prices because they're not going to take that hit in their profits for you. No, sir. I mean, we reported that lots of companies, Microsoft most recently, are increasing the price of new AAA games from $60 to $70. And PlayStation kicked off this generation with $70 exclusives. They also increased the price of their PlayStation 5 consoles in several global territories, again citing inflation.
Yeah, and Meta raised the price of its Quest 2 VR headset from $299 to $399, citing inflation as the main reason. Riot Games, maker of League of Legends, even increased the price of its premium currency, Riot Points, and they also cited inflation.
Yeah, we're also starting to see gamers cut back on expenses like subbing to Twitch channels, as lots of streamers have noticed their incomes dropping. So there's almost a double whammy here. People have less money to spend because of inflation and fears of a recession. Meanwhile, we are seeing the industry raising prices also due to inflation. That could potentially create a downward spiral, making things even worse.
Gaming used to be viewed by economists as recession-proof. Back during the economic meltdown of 2008, for example, gaming was one of the bright spots. A lot of companies reported that they were still making money. Facebook gaming was just raking it in. Consoles like the Wii and DS were still selling really well and continued to all the way through, but maybe this time it's going to be different.
Cassie Curran, founder of games business consulting firm Curran Games Agency, said that game sales in the last quarter, quote, finally saw a slight decline after the boom of the pandemic. Cassie said, quote, this time it's much more uncertain.
Uncertain. Interesting. So what do you guys think? Do you think first of all, do you think the economy is as bad as it seems like it's heading towards? And second of all, what effect do you think that's going to have on gaming in general?
I guess if we're looking at 2008 and the differences between then and now in the industry, you could make a case, I think, that the previous generation, console generation, definitely brought gaming a lot more to the mainstream. This is a lot of conjecture. I don't have numbers right now, but it seems more mainstream than ever, which would make me think that the whole industry is more beholden to larger economic trends because it's less of a niche hobby. And more of a general entertainment property.
I completely agree. And also, the explosion that we saw in revenues during the pandemic was bound to come down. That's just one of those things that I knew was going to come down. I mean, it happened everywhere across video games and streaming and Twitch and YouTube and all of it. So it was one of those things where I knew it was going to come down, and we always got to come back down to earth. And unfortunately, it's going to happen in gaming too. I do hope that, kind of like Ubisoft, we don't lay a bunch of people off. That's hopefully the goal here, is that people don't lose their jobs. Projects are going to get canceled, less money is going to get spent, but hopefully people will still get to keep their jobs.
Yeah, that's a wonderful sentiment. Charlotte, what you said about like gaming being so much bigger now, so maybe it's reaching the sorts of audience that will stop spending on it because it wasn't like a lifestyle for that corner of the market. I think that rings pretty true. The good news is that I think that the kinds of games that I really like and where they get their money from isn't so affected by that. So like, if the economy contracts and fewer people spend less money on FIFA Ultimate Team, I don't know that that's really going to take a dent out of the games that I enjoy playing. Maybe it'll make EA less likely to greenlight things like Jedi Fallen Survivor if they're not swimming in FIFA cash, but it seems like these days that most projects kind of exist on their own steam and make most of their own money back. If that stops happening, then suddenly the games that I like to see might start disappearing, and that would be a shame. But golly, with the state of my backlog, it's really hard to feel bad about games disappearing from the future when I haven't even played everything that's there now. So I don't know. I felt pretty saturated with video games for a while, and I hope that doesn't make it sound like I'm happy that there might be less games coming, because I really want people to make them and get paid for making them. But at the same time, personally, man, I've got plenty. I got plenty to keep me busy.
Wow, Lawrence bragging about how rich he is.
And busy.
Oh, speaking of bragging about being rich, I forgot. I have to disclose something else. I have been given material gifts from Ubisoft. Yes, it's socks again. They sent me Ubi socks. I just had to put that out there because I gotta admit, I'm fully in the shoe of Big Sock. They got me. That's why I'm shilling for Ubisoft, so I'm sorry about that.
I can't believe 2 major companies have sent you only socks.
I have Twitch socks too. Why does that keep happening?
And where are ours?
I shouldn't have been bragging about my socks. Now they know you can get socks.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? These Patreon patrons, I don't know if you know, but Inside Games has a Patreon. And these patrons spend money on what truly matters, us. Exceptional games journalism. Keita White, Mark Fletcher, Dan Halloran, and Xander. Thank you.
Yeah, we usually like giving goofy little titles to the patrons, but in the context of this story, we're going to go a little more heartfelt and just say really thank you for the direct support. We know that money's tight out there. We really appreciate more than ever any support from our audience. So Lenny Neves, Dragon Jetpack Society, Eddie the Dog, and Dougal Tutbo. Thank you all very much. Also, keep an eye on our Patreon. We'll have some updates there pretty soon. Some stuff that people should get pretty excited about.